I guess I want to say in all honesty that I'm totally not perfect about this stuff. I still live an urban lifestyle. I'm totally busy. You know, I take shortcuts all the time. I hope to use the next couple of years to address that, and to figure out how to transform my own life habits. I think habit is a very complicated thing. Habits are sort of like a level between conscious and unconscious behavior, and they can be very hard to break, or to change. I think one of the best ways to change them is to have a community that supports better new habits. That for me is one reason why I started a web project. I have a Evolver network, evolver.net, and we have local groups that are meeting around the U.S. and internationally with the idea that we can help form community networks of people who are not only first learning about these new ideas, but then applying them. So I think if you have support from the people around you to change and change your behavior and do things differently, it really helps. It's very hard. There's a lot of cultural baggage around making certain changes. Even going everywhere with like a porcelain cup rather than like a takeout cup. It's like a mental shift, and it's kind of hard to do that. It's also a little cumbersome, So I think some of this stuff, has to evolve through communities of practice. And so from my perspective, I felt the first thing was to help create the structure, the infrastructure for those communities to form, and then develop new habits, in interaction with others. But their points are obviously very good also. I'm just admitting that I have no perfect answer. And I think also, we have to work quickly on this stuff. But on the other hand, we can't beat ourselves up because that doesn't help anything either. And it kind of feeds into a kind of Christian, like guilt and sin kind of mentality, which I reject also.
Is it possible for the Green Movement to include the population, at least awareness movement? I mean, frankly, my worry is that a green movement that doesn't consider population is a lot of effort and thought taken away from something that I think can make it all not even matter.
Yeah, I noticed here there was a booth that was about population awareness and not breeding and so on. I mean, I personally wouldn't feel comfortable to tell people not to breed. I have a child, and for me, that's like actually why I'm like super concerned about the future. Because I care about her, and I want to. One reason I want to see her, develop. Are you walking out as I finish my answer?
Oh, you're so fucking boring.
We have another question here in the back.
All right. Well, my question is actually similar to his. I promise I won't walk out.
Yeah. It's all good if you do.
I don't know if you're familiar with Spiral Dynamics or work came over, but it's a lot of these kind of activist groups. These green festivals. You get a bunch of ecologically concerned people together into this one group where they all get together and talk about the other ideas and get all psyched, and then they go out into the world and people are still driving their SUVs and like they don't, it's hard to get people to care. And in Spiral Dynamics they talk about people like growing the consciousness at their own rate, and so I think they tend to assume that everyone will somehow see the light in how we see things and just go up to that level instead of us meeting them where they're at. And so I was wondering, how do you think we can address that?
I think we should meet people where they're at. I mean,
in many ways, that's why we did this film as well. That it's like there's only so far you can reach people with books. So like simplifying the language through animation and using hip music as a way to reach more people. So I think like using the media again to reach people where they are. I mean, you can't expect people to be all the same. Everybody's at a different level. So not everybody is going to change all at the same time. So also, being flexible and being ready to, give a helping hand to somebody that is willing to be helped. And same thing when somebody wants to help you. So it's just, pushing one another.
Also, I think it's important to not make too many assumptions about people, because I've worked a lot with people where I've learned to not make assumptions about the wisdom and what they're really holding, whether it's a bank president or someone who sells insurance, or, you can make all kinds of assumptions about people, but when you start talking heart to heart with people, you start to realize, wow, there's a lot of wisdom. So I think it's time to listen and set aside judgments.
Do you have any input, knowledge, or opinions on the Hadron Particle Accelerator in Geneva and its correlation to 2012?
What are you thinking about exactly?
Well, I have a friend that is studying black holes at NYU, and he said that he didn't know if it was as a joke, but they had planned on the next experiment being around that same time frame.
I mean, it's one of these many looming, almost like cartoonish possibilities of what 2012 could be. It's like, maybe they'll open a black hole, maybe the Earth's magnetic field is going to reverse and we'll have the electrical grid disappear. Maybe genetics will fuse with information technology and will suddenly evolve into like some other species. I look at all this stuff, I pay attention to it. I also kind of take it with a grain of salt. And we didn't explore these more wild possibilities in the film. Just
we did talk to Nassim, we just didn't.
Partially we I guess the model that we're kind of ultimately putting our particular emphasis on is that there is going to be human survival and development, and it's really just about this crucial paradigm shift that has to take place, and then how you actually construct a different economic system, a different agriculture system, bioremediation systems, and so on.
I mean, in many ways, in the film, what we try to do is not to get caught up in all these things that could happen, that we have no idea if they will happen because we have no knowledge about them, and nobody knows if the Hadron Collider could create a black hole and wipe out the whole universe. Who knows, right? So, like, what is the positive stuff that we can focus on? And that's really what we are about.
And I guess, I mean, on some level, like a shamanic level, I agree with, like, John Perkins' idea that, like, we're the world is as we dream it, and so that we as conscious beings are kind of participating in an unfolding dream story. And so this is like a big stage in the next dream is opening for us. And maybe it will be one of these extremely abrupt things. Maybe that's what the collective human psyche is gonna magnetize to itself. Or maybe it could be something much more gentle, or something that's sudden but also very positive. Maybe there will be something that causes a collective experience of a unitive consciousness state. A kind of mystical experience that will become something that will be like a new grounding. Maybe that's already happening incrementally. Maybe people are becoming more psychic, more aware of their interconnectedness with the world around them. Or more people are having that experience, and that reaches some kind of tipping point. Maybe all these things are happening at once.
Well, there's also, in physics, in quantum physics, and did you mention Nassim Haramein? Do you guys know about him? The resonance project, the unified field theory. And a lot of these guys, what they're saying about this event is that if we are focusing on gloom and doom, they're getting concerned because they're realizing through scientific, quantum physics, and that the power of intention. And if we're going to be focusing on those kinds of things, maybe the most positive thing we could do would be to focus on the positive, especially during those times. Yeah.